Welcome, everyone. We are back for another exploration. And today we're looking at one of the really powerful lessons near the end of the workbook. We're on lesson 353.
It's always such a pleasure to get to this part of the journey. As we get closer to the end, you start seeing these familiar ideas come back around.
Right.
But they're not just repeated. They come back from a much deeper place. It's like we're seeing them with new eyes.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what's happening here.
That deep integration is really what gives these final lessons their weight, I think. And this one, it doesn't waste any time at all. It jumps right into our physical experience, right into the place where we believe we live, where we see all the separation. It starts, my eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose.
And that placement is so important. By the time we get here, the mind has had so much practice with forgiveness that the lesson doesn't really need to give us all the little baby steps anymore.
It's not holding our hand in the same way.
It moves right to the ultimate goal. It's this complete and just joyful acceptance of our shared identity. It's about handing everything, every single part of our experience straight over to Christ.
Yeah. No more step-by-step for a little while. It's just this one big declaration. We're giving everything we think we are, everything we see, everything we do to be given Christ to use to bless the world with miracles. And it connects that highest possible purpose directly to the most mundane things, seeing, talking, walking around.
And that's the high point, isn't it? Because it's explicitly tying our physical tools, these body parts, directly to the idea of blessing the world. It's telling us that these things we use for fighting and defending and getting what we want.
Yeah, for our personal gain.
They actually have a single holy function.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's a total reversal. So before we really get into the implications of that one purpose, let's just take a moment. We'll read the whole lesson 353, nice and slow, and then we can really stay with its words for our whole exploration.
Lesson 353. My eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose, to be given Christ, to use to bless the world with miracles.
Father, I give all that is mine today to Christ, to use in any way that best will serve the purpose that I share with him. Nothing is mine alone, for he and I have joined in purpose. Thus has learning come almost to its appointed end. A while I work with him to serve his purpose. Then I lose myself in my identity and recognize that Christ is but myself. When I first started with the course, that opening line, my eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose. My first reaction, it was like a reflex. My mind just immediately started scanning for exceptions. I think, hang on a second. Surely the course doesn't get what it's like in the real world. You have to defend yourself sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. That hunt for the loophole, that's the ego's first move every single time. And it feels so natural because we spent, what feels like lifetimes learning to judge everything we see.
We're experts at finding fault.
We've practiced this belief that the threat is out there, that it's real, and that it demands a physical response from us.
And we feel completely justified in that, don't we? You can think of a really simple, almost silly example. You're just scrolling online and you see someone say something about you that's just wrong. Or maybe about something you care about.
Right.
And instantly you can feel it in your body. My brow furrows. My eyes are suddenly seeing injustice, seeing evil, and my tongue is already getting ready. My fingers are hovering over the keyboard to correct them.
That's the moment. That immediate justified reaction is where this idea of one purpose slams into our personal resistance. We're completely convinced that our comeback, our correction, is not only necessary, but righteous.
We think, well, if I don't set this person straight, who will? They'll just go on being wrong.
Exactly. But the lesson is so specific. It says the body is to be given Christ. It's not for me to hold on to. Me, the little separate self that feels attacked and threatened.
Which means the body can't be used to carry out the ego's plan, no matter how right it feels.
And it's probably worth spending a minute on why it singles out those four parts: eyes, tongue, hands, and feet. It's not just the body in general.
That's a great point.
These are, the main ways the ego projects its whole idea of separation onto the world.
Okay, so let's break that down. The eyes, they're the tool for perception, right?
Right.
We use them to judge what we're seeing. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it a threat?
Yeah, we're constantly scanning. The ego uses the eyes to look for weakness, for differences. It lets us put people into boxes, us and them.
So giving the eyes to Christ means they stop being scanners for division. They start looking for the love that's already there, underneath all the surface stuff.
And then you've got the tongue, the tool for communication. But how often do we really use it for that? Mostly it's for attack or defense, for correction.
Oh, yeah. Think about how much of our day is spent justifying ourselves or complaining about something or, criticizing what someone else did.
It's almost constant. So giving the tongue to Christ means it can only speak blessing or kindness or maybe violent. It can't be a weapon for gossip or revenge anymore.
Okay, and then the hands. They're for action, for getting things. We use our hands to grab onto stuff, to hold on tight to our possessions, and to push away anything we think is a threat.
When you get angry, you clench your fists.
So giving the hands to Christ means they stay open, they're ready to give, not to take. They become tools to be helpful, not to hoard things.
And finally, the feet. They're about our direction, our movement, the path we take. The ego uses them to run from what it fears or to chase after what it thinks it needs to be happy.
Always rushing.
Always. So giving our feet to Christ means our movements are guided by peace. We're not just, scrambling through the day in a panic. We're led where we can be the most helpful. It means pausing when every impulse is telling you to hurry up and defend yourself.
So back to that online comment, the racist one or whatever it is, that moment calls for the pause.
That's the practice.
The one purpose means I pause that instant reaction, which is always, always based on judgment and separation, and I just mentally hand that impulse over to the Holy Spirit.
And it's important to see that the Course isn't telling you to just ignore it or pretend it didn't happen.
No, not at all.
It's saying you cannot use your body parts, your hands to type, your eyes to glare, to carry out the ego's plan for vengeance. The body is the stage. It's where this split mind gets acted out.
It just does the bidding of whatever we're currently believing.
If we're believing in separation and evil, then our eyes see separation, our tongue speaks defense, our hands get ready for a fight. But if our mind is aligned with Christ,
then the body becomes an instrument for blessing, which is why that reminder in the prayer is so key. Father, I give all that is mine today to Christ.
Yeah.
That's the lifeline. It reminds us that the urge to judge, to correct, to feel that righteous anger,
right.
It's not ours to handle on our own. We pass it on. And its use is always for blessing, never for correction through attack.
A lot of us, when we first come to the Course, we really struggle with that. Just letting things go, trusting that the correction will happen in the right way.
We feel like if we don't do something with our hands or say something with our tongue, then the wrongness we see will just continue.
Like we have to be the ones to fix it.
We feel like we have to act. Yeah.
Exactly. And this lesson gives us such a concrete way to handle that feeling. We hand over the tools, we hand over the body parts. And when you consciously make that choice, just that mental decision not to use the body for the ego, you can feel the peace return almost instantly.
And the resolution isn't that the person online changed their mind.
No. The resolution is the return to peace in your mind. That was the only goal.
When we talk about this idea of handing it over, it's such familiar language, isn't it? Especially for anyone who might have grown up in a more, conventional religious setting.
Oh, absolutely. You hear it all the time. Just hand it over to God or give it to Jesus. It sounds like it could be a point where the Course and traditional faith really line up.
And there is some common ground there for sure. Let's start with that. Both systems, conventional faith and A Course in Miracles, they both encourage us to let go of our personal control.
Right. To release the anxiety, the struggle. They're both telling us to trust in something that's bigger than our own little ego mind.
At that very first level of practice, they're both saying, stop trying to figure this all out by yourself. So the initial action of surrender looks pretty similar.
It does. But since we're here at lesson 353, we have to look deeper than just the surface words. We have to really dig into the practical meaning behind it, which comes from the Course's unique metaphysics.
And the first huge difference is, who are we handing it over to?
Exactly.
For us as Course students, we get to this point and we understand that Christ, as the lesson says, is our true self. It's the shared identity of everyone.
It's not some external figure who lives outside of us and is going to come in and perform some kind of magic trick for us.
Right. And that's so central to this particular lesson. We're giving our body parts to Christ, but then the lesson ends by telling us, and recognize that Christ is but myself.
So we're surrendering the body to the highest part of our own mind, a mind that we share with everyone.
Which is a completely different thing than what's usually meant. If we were sticking with the conventional view, we'd be handing over a real, tangible problem.
Right. The thing that's causing the suffering. The affair, the bankruptcy, the illness.
And the prayer would be for an external change. Please fix this situation, or give me the strength to get through this terrible reality.
But the Course tells us flat out that what we think happened never actually happened. Not in reality. The body, the world, this whole drama, it's just an illusion of separation.
And that changes everything about what we're handing over. If the problem itself isn't real, then we aren't handing over the situation. We're handing over our interpretation of the situation. We surrender the belief that the illness is a tragedy, or that the betrayal is the end of the world, or that the injustice is final. We hand over our sadness, our guilt, all of our mistaken perceptions.
That is such a powerful shift for anyone practicing this. Think about the feeling of betrayal.
Yeah.
Conventionally, we'd hand over the person who betrayed us. We'd pray for them to see the error of their ways, or for us to find the strength to forgive their very real sin.
Right.
In the Course, we hand over our beliefs that we were betrayed in the first place. We hand over the belief that we're vulnerable to attack, and the deep underlying guilt that tells us we must have deserved it somehow.
So because what we're handing over is just a misperception, the correction has to be, it has to be entirely internal.
That's the only place it can happen.
Our mind's view of the problem gets corrected, and that correction brings us back to the piece that we actually never left. The outside stuff, the job market, the doctor's report, it might look the same on the surface.
But our inner state is totally transformed. It's restored to peace. And that inner peace is what then dictates how we use the body.
Of course.
If your mind is peaceful because you've handed over your interpretation, then your eyes just naturally see the situation differently. Your tongue doesn't need to say anything sharp. Your hands stay open. Your feet walk a path of ease.
So the miracle, the external change, it flows from that internal peace. It's not the other way around. We don't wait for the world to change so we can be peaceful.
We choose peace, and then we see a changed world. But boy, it takes practice to get past those instant ego reactions.
It really does. The second you feel your jaw tighten or your hands grip the steering wheel, that immediate thought is, I have to fight this. I have to fix this.
We've been taught for so long that being vigilant like that is how we survive.
And lesson 353 is just this ultimate gentle reminder that we have these tools, eyes, tongue, hands, and feet. And we have, endless chances all day long to practice this.
In every single interaction.
Yeah. Just handing the control of those tools straight over to Christ, to our true shared self.
That kind of deep surrender brings us to one of the more profound lines in the lesson.
Thus has learning come almost to its appointed end.
Exactly. When you read that, you realize how far we've come in the workbook. It suggests that this whole struggle, this back and forth between my way and the Holy Spirit's way, it's almost over.
The choice for peace is becoming the default setting, almost automatic.
And you can be sure the ego hears that phrase, appointed end, and it just loves it. It grabs onto it and sees it as a finish line in a race.
Oh, yeah. The ego immediately starts asking questions. Did I get there fast enough? Am I at a higher spiritual level than that person over there? What's my prize for finishing?
It's so predictable. Even for students who've been at this a while, getting this far can feel like unlocking some new achievement level.
Because that's how we measure everything in this world, isn't it? With time. With sequential progress. We think we're supposed to finish one phase and then start the next, moving up some kind of spiritual ladder.
But the Course helps us see that the whole idea of learning, of the step-by-step gradual process, it belongs to the world of time. It belongs to the illusion.
We only think we need to learn things because the ego has convinced us that we're lacking something, that we're flawed and incomplete and need to acquire knowledge to fix ourselves.
So the Holy Spirit, In his gentleness, he meets us right where we are. He uses the ego's own system, a workbook, daily lessons, this idea of progress.
He uses the structure.
He uses the structure, but he completely flips its purpose. Instead of using it to learn more things and reinforce our separation, this true learning becomes a way to unlearn.
Unlearn fear, unlearn guilt, unlearn all the false ideas we have about ourselves.
Which means that the appointed end of learning is really the end of the need for that kind of learning. It's the end of needing to accumulate information over time.
Because when the mind is totally corrected, there's nothing left to unlearn.
Right. And at that point, the feeling of separation just dissolves, and that whole mechanism of acquiring knowledge is replaced by direct knowledge.
We stop needing to be taught by some outside force because we are simply aware of the truth.
It's the difference between, say, reading 1,000 books about love and just being love. One is about gathering data. The other is your actual reality.
Direct knowledge is instant. It's complete. It doesn't need to be processed through our linear, doubtful minds.
Imagine for a second what that state would be like. Right now, we spend so much of our mental energy just sorting and analyzing and questioning everything.
Is this safe? Is this true? How should I respond to this?
Direct knowledge gets rid of all of that. There's no filter of interpretation, no delay while you think it through. There's just knowing, effortlessly.
The Course describes reality as a state where knowledge is just eternal and it's shared by everyone. So if you're learning things one by one, you're still working from the belief that you're missing something.
That there's a gap and that you need time to fill that gap. The appointed end is just the mind realizing the gap was never there to begin with.
And, this whole concept, even though it's using Course-specific language, it really does start to sound like other systems of enlightenment.
You can see the convergence. It's pointing to the end of the illusory world, the end of separation.
The return to love and joy and peace as our natural state.
It's about being mindfully aware of the present moment, which the Course would describe as being free of all fear and all desires that pull you away from peace.
And it confirms that this enlightenment isn't something we achieve or gain through learning. It's something that was always there, but we blocked it. We covered it up with the ego's whole project of learning over time. So while that idea of the appointed end does show a kind of unity with other spiritual paths, there are some really key differences that make the Course uniquely helpful for some of us.
And I think the biggest one is right there in Lesson 353. It's the absolute central role of forgiveness and innocence. The Course insists that we have to actively work with the illusion of guilt in order to undo it.
That's a great point. In a lot of other traditions, the main focus is on detachment. Stepping back from all the drama of the world so you can see that it's not real.
Right. The practice is often about meditation or silent observation. It's about moving toward a state of egolessness by not reacting, by just watching the thoughts go by.
But the Course offers a much more relational way of doing things. It recognizes that we believe guilt is real, so we need a very specific active tool to dissolve that belief.
And that tool is forgiveness. It shows us that we took our own guilt and we projected it out onto other people. And now the only way to heal is to reclaim our innocence by seeing them as innocent.
So it's the difference between saying none of this suffering is real, so I'm just going to detach from it, versus what the Course says, which is more like, I believe the suffering is real because I projected guilt, and the only way out is to extend Christ's vision to the very person I judged.
The Course takes the structures that we think are real relationships, guilt, judgment, and it uses them to show us that the fix always has to be internal, and that internal fix has to be forgiveness, because that's what undoes the guilt that made us feel separate in the first place.
Which is why the body parts have to be used to bless the world with miracles. The miracle is the forgiveness we're extending.
Exactly. If we just practice detachment, we might still be holding on to that core belief in guilt and separation.
Yeah.
We'd just be, suppressing our reaction to it instead of actually correcting the mind. Forgiveness is a much, much deeper cleanse.
The Course is so insistent that we use the world, the illusion, as our classroom.
Yes, because we use the body for its one true function. which is forgiveness.
The whole reason we have eyes and a tongue and hands and feet in this dream is to practice extending the miracle, not to just sit in a quiet room and wait for the appointed end to show up.
The appointed end shows up because we chose to bless the world.
It gives us a path to walk. It doesn't just point to the destination and say, good luck. It gives us a way to navigate what seems like darkness until we realize the light was inside us all along.
And that path is forgiveness. Just moment by moment by moment. So when we read that line, my eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose: to be given Christ, to use to bless the world with miracles. That's the ultimate instruction.
It's the application of forgiveness, not just thinking about it, but letting our physical selves express it. And as we get to the final lines of that prayer, there's this really important acknowledgement. It says that while learning is almost over, the illusion of time is still around for a little bit.
A while I work with him to serve his purpose.
Yeah, that a while.
It's an admission that we're still, experiencing ourselves as these separate little minds inside the dream. The gap between how we see things and the truth is getting smaller and smaller, but we haven't quite woken up yet.
We're in that peaceful twilight right before the sun comes up.
What a beautiful way to put it. And during that while, what are we doing? We're serving his purpose, which is just the consistent, continuous practice of extending miracles.
Choosing forgiveness over judgment in every single situation that comes up.
And that period of gentle, collaborative work it fades. It naturally and gently fades into the next part. Then I lose myself in my identity.
The language there is so important. It's not a scary process. It's not violent or jarring. It's a soft letting go.
It's like watching fog burn off in the morning. It just disappears.
And the identity that we're losing is the one we worked so hard to build, the one made out of fear and scarcity and the need to defend ourselves.
Right, the ego self. Our personal story, our personality, our whole list of failures and achievements, and our identification with this body, all it just gently fades away.
It's not that it's destroyed or wiped out. We just stop believing in it. We stop giving it our attention.
We stop defining ourselves by where our feet have walked, or what our hands have grabbed, or what our tongue has argued about, or what our eyes have judged. We just realize that all those definitions were so temporary and so small.
And that release leads straight to the final recognition. Christ is but myself. And there's no work involved in that last step. There's no effort.
No, because by then, the truth is just obvious. It's self-evident. The temporary little self we thought we were just dissolves into the reality of our shared unified identity.
And this is the only thing that really allows us to bless the world with miracles. The miracle isn't just a brief shift in perception anymore. It becomes our constant state of being.
So let's bring this all the way back to the practical part, back to the body parts, because that's where the lesson starts and ends. Imagine yourself in the most frustrating place you can think of. Maybe it's the security line at the airport, or you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on a Monday morning.
Yeah, I can picture that. In the ego's world, the people in front of me are annoying obstacles. The whole system is set up to frustrate me personally.
And you feel it, right? Your eyes are narrowed, your hands are gripping your passport, your tongue is ready if anyone looks at you sideways.
Absolutely. But when our eyes and our tongue and our hands and feet are given over to Christ, the miracle can happen right there.
You don't change the outside world. The line is still long. The traffic is still stopped.
But you see love. You see unity. You see the shared innocence of our oneself reflected in every single person that seems like an obstacle a minute ago.
And that choice, that moment of choosing to see love instead of conflict, that is the miracle. It's a moment of total forgiveness.
And it's done through eyes that are seeing truly, a tongue that blesses with patience, or just with silence instead of defending.
Hands that stay relaxed and open. Feet that let us just pause and be kind, and wait for guidance instead of trying to push our way to the front.
We've really come full circle then, right back to the body parts from the beginning of the lesson. It doesn't matter if you're in traffic, or on social media, or in a difficult meeting at work.
All of these physical tools have one purpose. The lesson reminds us that our whole physical experience is the channel. It's the way we either act out the split mind by judging and rushing and attacking, or we confirm our unity.
And giving our body to Christ just ensures it serves only unity. And making that decision over and over is what brings learning to its quiet, peaceful, appointed end. Well, thank you for joining us for this pretty intense exploration of Lesson 353. We really went from the most specific physical actions all the way to the highest spiritual truth of our shared identity.
It is a remarkable lesson, isn't it? It's like a summary in a way.
Yeah.
It pulls together so many ideas we've been working with for this whole year. Forgiveness, the illusion of time, accepting the Christ self. It's a beautiful coming together of everything.
We really hope this conversation has brought some new light to what it means to be at this stage of the workbook. And if you have any new insights or maybe some questions that came up for you, we always love hearing from you.
You can always reach us by email. It's ACIM@theworldharmonyproject.org. And you can find us on TikTok and YouTube as well. Our handle there is @theworldharmonyproject.
And it has been a struggle to maintain our posting schedule lately, not gonna lie, friends, but we are so grateful for your patience. We'll be back soon for our next exploration, which will be Lesson 354 as we continue this gentle walk home. But for today, maybe take this thought with you.
If the appointed end of learning truly means the end of time, what decision are you making right now? With your eyes, your tongue, your hands, or your feet? That is still based on the idea that you need tomorrow to find your peace.